Michael Jackson, Afterlife. Once again, Chris Cuomo and Elizabeth Vargas.
Good evening and welcome to the second hour of our Michael Jackson anniversary special. We're going to get personal now and begin with three people whose connection to Michael Jackson was hands-on for over 25 years.
Only they saw him as he really was in life and in death, without the glamour, without the makeup. Tonight, Cynthia McFadden has their inside stories. These are the people who prepared Michael Jackson during and after life.
It was the most private of times for the most public of people. Michael Jackson's family and closest friends had come together at Forest Lawn Cemetery to bid him a final farewell. To prepare Jackson, his family had turned to the three people who'd been dressing him and making him up for more than a quarter century: Dennis Tompkins, Michael Bush, and Karen Faye.
Karen, the family called you and asked you to make Michael Jackson up. Yeah. Nobody else could have. How did you do it? It's an honor to do it. It's an honor to do it. I knew how we wanted to look. So I did. First family, first children.
And you all dressed him.
Yeah, the family called and said, "You've worked with Michael for so many years, we need you to do his outfit." And you're going like, okay, if he ever needed me, he needs me now.
So what did you pick?
Well, anything I can say at this point, because the family wants to keep it. There's elements of everything that was his favorite looks over the years. Everything was new.
Were you proud of it?
Yes.
Very,
yeah.
very, very.
It's beautiful. There had to have been a glove.
No.
He didn't want that.
Well, see, Michael, the glove was Billie Jean. That represented that song. That wasn't...
Not himself.
That's not Michael Jackson. That's the song. That's my performance. That's Billie Jean.
You want to put on the jacket?
And these were people who knew the man behind the music.
Michael Bush, you're going to like this. This is you working.
Knew him stripped of the artifice he so cleverly showed the world. Unguarded moments captured by Karen Faye.
I'm not lit properly. This isn't fair.
Oh, that's right. Where's the bounce car?
ABC News paid to license footage and photos from his three friends' private collections. His inner circle was determined Jackson would exit as the world had known him, as a showman.
Roy. The work that me and Karen did with Michael at Forest Lawn, I think, bonded us for life.
9 hours, wasn't it?
9 hours.
9 hours. You didn't know you'd be the actual person to dress him the last time.
I never expected, that even when we did the costume, to do that. I thought, you know, hand it through a door, I'm done.
And then I assisted you.
And I think the hardest thing is, I mean, they asked me to help. Everyone's gone. We have to get him in the coffin. So I had to help pick him up and place him in the coffin. And to me, it's like, well, I got to do this for my best friend.
The final touch, Tompkins designed this crown to bid the king of pop farewell.
May I pick it up?
Yes.
It looks like ermine down here. It's not real, is it?
Faux.
Faux ermine.
Faux ermine.
It's a show crown.
Show crown.
For perhaps the greatest showman of them all. You can't help but think he would have loved seeing his children proudly carry that crown.
When the casket was brought in at Forest Lawn into the service, Prince and Paris and Blanket lifted and put it on the center, flowers on the coffin.
Well, that must have been a moment.
Definitely.
Yeah.
This is the first time Tompkins, Faye, and Bush have talked about their employer and friend.
So, Karen, tell me about the first time you met him.
I met him in the summer of 1982. Just a little bit softer.
She'd been called in to do his hair and makeup for the cover of Thriller, which would become the biggest-selling album of all time. And he'd brought along a surprise, a baby tiger.
I was more fascinated with that tiger than I was with him. So I think he really enjoyed that my attention wasn't totally focused on him.
In fact, a little-known fact, you flashed him that first day.
Oh, okay. I undid the top of my jeans, and I just flashed him the top, because I happened to have worn some tiger underwear that day. And he went, ah! And he was just so embarrassed by that. I quickly buttoned it up, but I think that's why he called me back the next job.
You think?
I think so.
He liked people who had a sense of humor.
Yes, absolutely.
He also liked people who had a sense of style. For more than 2 decades, the majority of Jackson's most memorable outfits came out of the workshop run by Dennis Tompkins.
If you had to sum up his style, what was it?
Liberace has gone to war.
Liberace has gone to war. There you go.
And I said, that's pretty good.
His genius as an artist is unquestioned, but we wanted to know about the persistent rumors that followed him.
There's been a lot of talk about whether or not he was abusing drugs. Nobody was in a more intimate position than the three of you to know. Kind of popular wisdom was that after the Pepsi commercial, where his hair caught on fire, and he had to take painkillers.
That's not true.
That's not true.
That's not true because that's not where it initially started.
Faye insists Jackson's use of prescription drugs began in 1993, 9 years after the Pepsi commercial.
Just before we went on tour for Dangerous, he had an operation in order to help the scarring. But he didn't have enough time to heal. We were getting on a plane and going right to Bangkok. So in order to keep going, he started using some painkillers because it was very painful when the nerve endings are severed.
Do you know what he was taking?
Oh, no. No, I don't.
It wasn't out in the open. It wasn't.
No.
But it was while they were in Bangkok, Jackson's world exploded.
Police sources say the charges involve a 13-year-old boy.
Amidst reports that California authorities were investigating him for sexually abusing a 13-year-old boy.
So now we're talking physical pain, and now we're talking emotional pain.
The day that came out, he was stepping on stage in front of like 80,000 people.
Jackson went through with the performance, but the price was high.
It was devastating because he had to go out every day in front of a world and the media who was telling everybody
that
he was a pedophile, but he still went out and had to face everybody.
Aided, Faye says, by painkillers.
It gave him some sort of ability to get through it.
But even then, Jackson couldn't sleep, say Bush and Faye. And the combined toll of the allegations and touring was showing, at least backstage.
You have to understand his adrenaline was so intense. Sometimes it would take him 2 days.
2 days to go to sleep.
For his adrenaline just to come down from one show.
In 1994, Jackson settled out of court with his accuser, but nearly a decade later, yet another boy came forward, also alleging sexual abuse.
The most loving thing to do is to share your bed with someone.
That remark from a British documentary was so incendiary, it fueled Jackson's prosecution.
You said the word bed, a lot of people think sexual, and that was the farthest thing from Michael's mind. I mean, we would go do an award show, you come back, everyone jumped on there with 15 people on a bed watching the show or cartoons or whatever movie he had to show.
You never saw, you never heard anything in the course of a 25-year relationship that made you think that Michael Jackson was a pedophile?
No.
Nothing.
No. Nothing.
I absolutely feel I would have seen something over the years, but not a thing.
Not guilty. A dramatic victory for Michael Jackson.
And after a 3.5-month trial, Jackson was acquitted, though the taint of the accusation continued to linger. Tonight, for the first time, his friends reveal how devastating the trial was for him. They were there at Neverland every morning getting him ready. Faye says the routine was always the same, beginning at 3 a.m.
Before I washed his hair, we actually knelt down on the ground. And he put his arms around me, and I put my arms around him, and he would put his head right here and weep. And we would pray for God to help us and for people to know the truth. And then we'd get up and wipe our tears, and I would wash his hair.
Do you think he thought he was going to be convicted, Karen?
He didn't know. I mean, it was so vicious. He had to walk the red carpet into that courtroom every day in front of all the cameras.
And every day for that long walk, he had a new outfit, designed by his old pals, delivered every morning at 6 a.m., a boost for his morale.
And after you got him dressed, it's like, we love you. No, I love you more.
He did suffer serious burns during the Pepsi commercial.
Mm-hmm.
What was the effect of all of that? Was it mostly wigs by the end that he was wearing?
You know, Michael was so sensitive about these things, you know, and I really I'm not comfortable with talking about something that was a really sensitive issue with him. You know, it was kind of like our secret, and I'd like to continue that.
Let's clear up some more tabloid trash. Was Michael Jackson gay?
Absolutely not.
I mean, you say that with conviction.
He would always, like whenever we were, he would always kind of, he called it fishing. He'd look around for all the hot girls. And he'd say, oh, that Turkle, that one's really hot. Oh, look, look how her hair just swirls.
So you don't think that was an act?
No.
What?
That
he was doing for me?
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
Did he ever comment on young men?
No.
So you don't think he was just in hiding about his sexuality? No. Possible that he was asexual? Not so interested in sex?
Well, I think he had fears about intimacy, you know, from his childhood. I don't think he really had great examples of how a relationship works.
With Michael, I think sex ruled his life. It wasn't his going life. He was just...
I think he was married to his vocation.
Michael,
do you?
Yeah, yes, I think
that came first.
He was in love with his music. He was in love with
his art form, the art he had.
His whole world.
He certainly played around with gender roles and tried to bend.
He didn't see the barriers as far as art goes. Do you know what I mean? He didn't see, like, you know, why can men only do this or women do that? But he was not gay. He just liked what was beautiful and perfect.
What happened to the show?
They tore it down as soon as he was pronounced dead.
That day?
That hour.
Within 20 minutes, the riggers were taking down the stage.
Within 20 minutes of him being...
But see, I think then too that they had the connection. There was
they didn't
nothing.
Have the connection. It was just a job that was rented equipment. It's not happening.
It's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Strike the set.
That must have been pretty tough to take.
I don't think I've even taken it yet.
Michael didn't do costumes. Costumes were stage clothes.
In life?
In life is...
What did he wear?
Corduroy.
Pajamas.
Hold it. Corduroy?
Corduroy.
Oh, yeah.
Comfortable. Ooh, soft.
I didn't know they did sequins on corduroy.
They don't know sequins in life.
But with Michael, because the corduroy, when it rubs together, it made a sound. And Michael was about sound. The music.
And T-shirts? I mean, just like...
T-shirts. V-neck T-shirts. House slippers, shoes, socks.
He didn't care about fashion off?
No.
Not at all.
We tried incredible German cut velvet pajamas. We tried everything from charmeuse to you name it. He went back to the good old cotton and flannel and a T-shirt.
Comfy
clothes.
Comfy.
Yeah.
We're going like, well, Michael, someone's going to show up for dinner and you need to have a smoking jacket. You need to have the lounge look. And he's like, it's corduroy, it's okay, you know. Because it's just not me. It's just not the home life.
So that whole image, the whole creation, was a creation for the public.
The public on the stage.
Show clothes.
Show clothes.
In his art, Michael Jackson played repeatedly with the idea of metamorphosis, from Thriller to Black or White, to Ghost, where he becomes a middle-aged white guy. And looking back, it seems as if Michael Jackson viewed his own face as yet another canvas, another opportunity to explore change. For the first time tonight, we talked to the woman who knew his face almost as well as he did, Karen Faye, his makeup artist for more than 25 years.
Of course, stage makeup is one thing, but makeup on men in life is looked at as very peculiar, especially during the trial when he's wearing eyeliner and what appears to be lipstick.
It's very sensitive for me to even talk about, because these are things that are very, very private. He didn't like the line that was drawn between what's allowed for men and what's allowed for women. He really was very androgynous in the sense that he just took whatever is available to enhance himself as art.
So in some ways, people have said that he saw himself as an artistic canvas.
Absolutely. That's the explanation also for the plastic surgery. He was always trying to perfect everything.
Plastic surgeons have looked at his face and said that the nose actually became almost non-functioning because of the repeated plastic surgeries. That's not true. He didn't have to wear nose prosthesis?
No, absolutely
not. A lot of people believe it. So let's
you know what it was? It was the tape that he used to wear on his nose, and everybody thought that was.
Why tape?
Because I guess after plastic surgery, it keeps it in form, or else it would expand.
Because a lot of people think he went too far. You never said to him, Michael...
I thought he was beautiful, and I would always tell him I thought he was beautiful. Personally, I think it went a little too far, but like I never, ever, because I understood it.
Faye says she saw Jackson announce his new tour on television on March 5th of last year. And soon got a call from him asking if she'd team up with him once again for their 4th tour together.
From the time you first talked to him about going back to work in March to May, did you see a change?
Yes.
Tell me about it.
I think he was frightened.
Of?
Being judged again. He said during the trial, I can't believe the world is doing this to me. He said, I gave everything that I had. I gave them my music, I danced for them, and this is what I get in return.
And not since the trial, she says, had she seen such fear in Jackson's eyes.
And when it really got down to standing up in front of an audience, all that fear, all that doubt, all that cruelty that people directed at him, he was afraid. He didn't want to go through that again.
When you looked at Michael Jackson's face at the end, it looked sad.
He was very sad.
He was starting to lose weight.
Oh, he wasn't sleeping, and he was losing weight drastically. The week before he died, probably about 15 pounds, I would say.
And he didn't have 15 pounds to lose.
No, no. In fact, when I met him in March, one of my very first concerns was that I thought he was too thin to really be able to do a show.
You also feel that he was taking drugs at that time? Medication of some sort?
I really can't really go here because of impending trial and things like that. So we can't, this is kind of like a difficult area.
Or were you concerned about him?
I was extremely concerned with Michael's well-being. I was very concerned with his well-being.
You'd seen him in dicey situations before. Were you more concerned than you'd ever been?
Absolutely, a lot more concerned.
He was like bone thin, and he grabbed me on the arm and said, "You promised me you wouldn't tell."
Tell what?
What I'm seeing.
Did you tell anybody?
Absolutely.
What did you say?
I was talking to the people who had the power to do something about it.
What were your fears?
I feared that Michael was physically unable to do the shows in his condition.
Did you think that he was vulnerable enough that he might die?
Yes.
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 There was just these telltale signs. When is someone going to pay attention? Because to me it was blatant.
What was blatant?
The way he was like on stage rehearsing.
What was different about it?
A lot of start-stops. Usually when we did a music video with Michael, they'd load the camera full of film, they would run it until it ran out. You didn't do 2 bars of the song and stop. That was Michael's energy. He fed off of what was going on.
He didn't have his usual stamina.
No, and then you start speaking up, like you said, to the powers that be, and it just seemed like it was falling on deaf ears, or we'll fix that later, or there's more, something else that seemed like it was more important.
Because when you see the video that was put out of the rehearsal of the This Is It concert, it sure looks like Michael Jackson's on top of the world.
Okay.
It's great editing.
It isn't the reality that we're seeing.
Absolutely not. Even if you look at the songs, the way they're edited, he has 3 different outfits on for one song. In most, they were taking bits and pieces from different rehearsal dates to be able to put it together to make it look like he got through a song. But we really didn't get through a whole song. I think we got through 2 ballads all together. We could do a show.
And this was not the Michael Jackson that you would work with for 25 years.
No. He didn't have the control that he was used to having.
On the 25th of June last year, Karen Faye was waiting for Jackson at the Staples Center to begin rehearsals when she got the call she dreaded. Michael Jackson had been rushed to the hospital.
Michael Jackson was brought here in full cardiac arrest
and is now in a coma at the UCLA.
When did you find out?
Kenny kind of instructed us to keep going and rehearsing and getting ready, do what we're supposed to do. We're not sure what's going on right now. Let's just carry on as usual. I was headed back to my room, my makeup room, and Kenny came out of his office. And he put his arms around me and held me up and whispered in my ear, "He's gone, we lost him." And my knees just collapsed.
Do you think Michael Jackson needed to die? Do you think that was inevitable, or could he have been saved?
I think if people paid attention, we'd still have him.
Next.